I do believe that passion is absolutely essential to anything you do. So wake up in the morning. If you don't love your job, change it. If you don't like your life, change it.
We must stop talking. Be decisive in your decision. Be decisive in the action. And then believe that you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can do it. If you think you can do it, rather go and sleep.
I think I have no fear. I have no fear mentally, I have no fear psychologically, and I take things as they come because I don't live for people, I live for myself. And if I see an opportunity, I go for it.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, shake it up.
Throughout history, women have overcome countless barriers and shattered glass ceilings to achieve remarkable success and wield incredible power. Despite facing systemic biases and gender-based discrimination, women have defied societal expectations, proving their intellect, determination, and resilience. In this video, we celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of women who have achieved great success and power, inspiring generations to come. Today, we have an exciting countdown for you. We'll be unveiling the top 10 richest women in South Africa. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Kicking off our list at number 10, we have a remarkable businesswoman, Christine Ramon. Christine Ramon has made her mark as an influential figure in the business world. Growing up, she developed a passion for finance and strategy, which paved the way for her success. With a net worth of approximately $2.32 million, Christine has achieved great heights in her career.
I think, women do have certain inherent barriers in the workplace. I think first and foremost, it is about overcoming perceptions. I think certainly women have to work a lot harder to get recognition in the workplace. But I think it is also about approaching things with a very positive mindset and not allowing the gender issue to get in your way. And I think once you're able to demonstrate and prove yourself in the workplace environment, gender really does not become an issue. It is about really showing that you can add value and make a difference in the workplace environment. You must be able to work as a team with both males and females and show that that does not make a difference to you. As a person, it really is about work and delivering on what is required. I think one of the other barriers that women do have generally is balancing work and home life. And what really helped me overcome that is really having a lot of structure in my life, having the right support system in place. I think my husband has been incredibly supportive to me in my career. And I think, we really balance it. I'm in a very structured role, which requires a lot of travel. And he certainly is more flexible between the two of us. And I also have additional help. And I think that certainly helps me overcome, the balance issue in my life. I wouldn't say I achieve balance all of the time, but for me it is about achieving it most of the time, and that's good enough.
Christine Ramon served as Anglo Gold Ashanti's CFO from October 2014 until 2022, when she took early retirement and became the non-executive director of Vodafone. She was also interim CEO of Anglo Gold Ashanti from September 2020 to August 2021. She has held senior financial management and executive positions in various companies, including CFO of Sasol. Prior to this, she was CEO of Jonic Holdings and served on the boards of Transnet and Jonic Communications. She is currently a non-executive director on the boards of MTN Group and Lafarge France. Christine is also a member of the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants and the Association for the Advancement of Black Accountants of South Africa. She served previously as a member of the Standing Advisory Committee to the International Accounting Standards Board and currently serves as Deputy Chair of the Financial Reporting Standards Council of South Africa. Christine is also the chairperson of the CFO Forum of South Africa. Christine Ramon was awarded the 2016 and 2018 Finance and Technology Award by CFO South Africa. She's qualified in Senior Executive Program from Harvard University and BComt Honors Accounting and Auditing from the University of South Africa. At number 9, we have a remarkable woman who has made significant contributions to various fields. Please welcome Mampela Ramphele.
My generation in this country had the great fortune of turning the challenges of our environment. I don't need to repeat the life stories of the women around here because we shared them. We had to say, this is what we inherited. What are we going to leave behind? And it wasn't easy. We challenged the men. And the problem we have today, we have women's organizations, women's leagues, youth leagues that don't challenge any idea. The struggle in nowadays was a struggle of ideas, of values, of really wrestling with the contradictions, wrestling with the dilemmas.
Mampela, at 74 years old, has an impressive net worth of $3 million. Born and raised in South Africa, Dr. Mampela is co-founder of Reimagine SA, the chair of the Tutu IP Trust, and co-president of the Club of Rome. She is a change agent rooted in the Black consciousness philosophy that enabled many young people in the 1970s to self-liberate from the inferiority complex imposed by racist oppression and inspired the revival of the liberation struggle that ushered in political freedom in 1994. She is a medical doctor, a social anthropologist, an accomplished researcher, and a co-author. Ramphele received her Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery from the University of Natal, a BCom from the University of South Africa, as well as diplomas in tropical health and hygiene and public health from Wits University. In 1991, she received her PhD in social anthropology. Mampela Ramphele was the first Black woman to hold the position of Vice Chancellor at a South African university. Moving on to number 8, we have an inspiring entrepreneur who has built an empire through determination and hard work. Let's meet Nondlandla Mohorli. Nondlandla Mohorli, age 62, has achieved a net worth of approximately $5.17 million. She runs her own companies Majorly Development Company, PD, Ltd, Iziko Investments, and the Alpha Network for Women. Nondlandla sits on several boards, including Capitec Bank, WBHO Construction, Tongaat Hewlett Sugar, and Emira Property Fund, amongst others. She has held a number of prominent roles over the years, including Economic Advisor to the Presidency in South Africa and Chair of South African Women Entrepreneurs. She has a BA from the University of Fort Hare and an MA in City and Regional Planning from the University of Cape Town, a certificate in finance at the Wharton School of Business from the USA, a senior executive leadership program at Harvard University, and a postgraduate certificate in technology management at Warwick University from the UK. With her entrepreneurial spirit, she has overcome numerous challenges to establish herself as a successful businesswoman in South Africa. Nondlandla's story is a testament to the power of perseverance. She is known for her philanthropic endeavors, particularly in the areas of education and women's empowerment.
Basically, we started in housing, and then construction, and then property, and ended up in finance. But basically, the motive is the same. Unless people have got access to finance, unless they've got access to decent accommodation, the economy will not grow. And so my own driving force is that it is critical that people get access to finance and that people get to play in the economy, and that way they will all feel as citizens of South Africa. So if you look at the whole portfolio of what we do, is all around that.
And one of the things that, you mentioned, which is quite important, has been the issue of funding. And one of the things that you've done, with your vast experience in the construction sector, has been that, there's been the Housing Finance Guarantee Company, and this looks at, women and Black people in general. This also talks to the issue of transformation, does it not?
No, it does, because just quickly, if you think of in terms of 1994, there were no Black people who were contractors. There were no Black women who were active in the construction industry. And the reason why they were not active is because they couldn't access bank finance. And so that's really the journey.
And for you, would you say, having looked at, this particular sector, is it only, finance that is an impediment for a Black woman to be able to access, or are there other factors at play?
there will always be other factors. There always, you'll have to have skill. You'll have to have, actually we all need push-up. All of us, someone has taken you by the hand, has taken me by the hand, and they've given you those kind of qualities, those kind of skills you didn't have. So if you look at the women when they start in housing, most of them, they've done it before professionally. So they need that professionalization of what they're doing, because the moment you professionalize, then you can access the private sector, you can access government, you can access anyone you want. But if you are not professionalized, you won't be able to do it, even though you may know how to do it.
Is the support, though, always available? Because, you talk about the pushing, and the pushing is really at the heart of what people need. Is it always available, though, when it comes to this particular sector, when one really zones in to, housing and construction?
I'll just make a quick comment that my dad used to say, that for any constraint, there's a solution. You really have to determine that you need to look for the solution. So even in this one, the reason why there are still women contractors who are successful is because they've pushed. They've actually looked for the solution. And if I ever had to have one word to say, is that all of us need to really believe in ourselves and we need to push.
Now let's move on to number 7, where we find a multi-talented woman who has made waves in various industries. Please welcome Judy Dlamini. Judy Dlamini, at 62 years old, has achieved a net worth of $6.88 million. Dr. Judy Dlamini is a medical and academic doctor, businesswoman, author, and philanthropist. She is the founder and executive chairman of Mberkani Group, which has been in business for 25 years, Wits University chancellor, co-founder, sponsor, and trustee of Makiwa Trust, and founder of Female Academic Leaders Fellowship NPC, a PBO for developing a pipeline of Black women leaders in academia focusing in rural development, health, and education. She chairs the board of Vets Donald Gordon Medical Center, GBVF Response Fund, and is a director of SASME Fund. Judy's versatility and dedication have propelled her to great heights. Judy Dlamini is known for her passion for education and has actively supported initiatives aimed at improving educational opportunities for underprivileged children.
Ambition has allowed me to say, I don't care what you think, I don't care what life throws my way, my ambition will succeed. And you have to back that up with focus and hard work. The women spoke about confidence. It's actually quite interesting because by default, men tend to be more confident and women by default. It's not, nothing works for everyone, but women by default tend to be less confident. So how women make up for this is being over-prepared, which is not necessarily a bad thing, so that women are not likely to wing it, you know. Men find it easier to do that because of the confidence that they exude. So as women, we really need to build on confidence. Humility, I put those next to each other, confidence and humility, because there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, you know. If you're confident but humble, then you become accessible as a leader, because when you are arrogant as a leader, most of the time I find that arrogance is trying to hide a weakness. When you get closer to people that are arrogant, you actually find so many soft spots that they actually build this wall to come across as I know it all, but it's really covering up for a weakness. The problem with that, though, is that you don't become accessible to your team. You don't become accessible to the people that you lead. If you know who you are, you're comfortable in your own skin, you have confidence that, you know what, there are blind spots in what I know, but it's fine. The people around me can make up for those blind spots. But for you to be able to transcend that, you need to be humble. So humility, especially in leadership, is very important. Sometimes you say the wrong thing, or sometimes things don't come out the way you wanted them to come out, but humility allows you to go back to that person and say, I'm sorry. I hurt you, I didn't mean to. So those things make you accessible to the team that you lead, and then you actually prosper as a group and as a team. Tenacity, I don't know if it's possible to make it in life, because I always say life is not for sissies. I'm not sure if that's PC, but that's just how it is. If you are not tenacious, if you don't, because you will fail. And I find that failures make you a better person. You learn from failures more than you learn from successes, because more often than not, success has an element of luck in it. I'm not sure how much. Each circumstance is different. But if you combine hard work, luck, and focus, then you get success. So, but somewhere there is luck. Professional presentation of self, I don't need to tell you more about that. Before you say anything, people have decided whether you fit in, whether you know anything, before you open your mouth, just by showing up. So obviously it's important. I always call it pursuit of excellence, because I don't think it's an attainable thing, but it's something, when you pursue it, it shows, and it comes across well to the people that you deal with. Networks across the board. I find that men are better at this. Maybe things are changing with women as they come more into the corporate sector, as they become more of leaders. But because of how most women were raised, you actually are not seen, you shouldn't be seen to be forward. Sometimes just trying to present yourself and engage with people can be seen as being forward. So you have to find a way that is actually acceptable to the group that you encounter, to be able to form those networks. And those networks are important, not only in the country, globally, and also even outside your sector.
Next up at number 6, we have a captivating personality who has overcome challenges to establish her own empire. Let's meet Shaun Makieza. Shaun Makieza, age 48, has amassed a net worth of $19.3 million. She has proven that age is just a number when it comes to achieving success. Shaun's journey from humble beginnings to becoming a prominent figure in the business world is truly inspiring. Shaun Makieza is a South African actress, businesswoman, and philanthropist who made a fortune from constructing houses for the government in South Africa. The daughter of the late anti-apartheid activist and ANC leader Florence Makieza, Shaun was born in KwaZulu-Natal and grew up there. Shaun Makieza started her career decades ago in the 2000s. She started with a property business, establishing Zikolise Group soon after. The company has several other companies under its wings, including Royal AM Luxury and Grooming Pampering Lounge. Shaun Makieza is known for her extravagant lifestyle and has been featured in various television programs that document her luxurious lifestyle.
You know, I want to tell you something. Every downfall in life, don't take it as a downfall. Just take it as it's something that allows you an opportunity to scrutinize and to do a selection. Because as you climb the heights, you need to know who are the people that deserve to be in your seat. Because sometimes you'll think that the downfall is there for nothing. Everything that happens in your life, it happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And truth be told, whatever that you go through, it's for the selection, it's a selection process, because you need to know who are for you, that you need to take them as you climb and as you escalate those heights,
right,
and take them with you.
You make it look so easy, though. Sometimes when I see you, how you deal with challenges, how you react, how you respond to challenges or confrontation, you make the rest of us feel like, why am I putting a magnifying glass on this issue and not just, smiling my way through? How do you do it? Also, just in terms of your mantra in life.
I think I have no fear. I have no fear mentally, I have no fear psychologically, and I take things as they come, because I don't live for people, I live for myself. And if I see an opportunity, I go for it. And, I think when you go for something like that, even when you go down, you say, let me go to it and make sure that I conquer it.
Right.
Moving closer to the top at number 5, we have an influential businesswoman who has made her mark in various ventures. Please welcome Sharon Wapnick. Sharon Wapnick, age 57, boasts an impressive net worth of $23.83 million. Sharon obtained her BA degree and LLB cum laude from the Wits University and completed articles of clerkship with Moss Morris. She was admitted as an attorney in 1988 and became a partner of Moss Morris in the same year. Sharon was appointed as the deputy chairperson of Moss Morris in 2003. Sharon was a founding partner of TWB in October 2004. Sharon specializes in commercial litigation and constitutional law. She has extensive experience in high-profile commercial civil and criminal litigation, as well as arbitrations. Born and raised in South Africa, she has shown exceptional business acumen, excelling in different industries. Sharon's ability to adapt and succeed is truly commendable. Sharon Wapnick is also known for her active involvement in philanthropic initiatives, particularly those focused on wildlife conservation. Entering the top half of our list at number 4, we have Bridget Radebe, a powerhouse in the mining industry. Bridget Radebe, 62 years old, holds a net worth of $55 million. Bridget Radebe is the founder, executive chairperson, and CEO of Emakau Mining, Pty Limited. The Business Person of the Year, 2008. Bridget is a heroic woman and a born entrepreneur who defied legislation to build her own successful mining group. She is an economic activist, an agent of transformation, and a pioneer of change who has played a key role in changing exclusionary mining legislation in South Africa, and who pioneered the implementation of empowerment mining models in Africa and internationally. Bridget was born into an entrepreneurial family during the apartheid era when black people were not allowed to hold a mining license and not allowed to mine or own mining rights. Her parents had to fight oppressive rules against businessmen, and this created the foundation for the spirit of economic activism within Bridget and her family. Her expertise and influence in the mining sector have propelled her to great heights. Bridget's accomplishments serve as a testament to her determination and resilience. Here's an interesting fact. Bridget Radebe is the sister of South African businessman Patrice Motsepe, who is also one of the wealthiest individuals in the country.
I remember I saw the social media, everything was tweeting, and Reddy Tladi was saying, if you're a South African, you need to know who your people are that are the leaders of the economy. I started becoming the first black mining entrepreneur 30 years ago in South Africa. There were no black people mining except the unions. And I was and women. The law said women, black women or white women, were not allowed to go underground. And then I started. And I only got married to this man who's a wonderful politician only when Mandela, 3-4 years after Mandela became the president. He found me with my balance sheets and my business experience and everything. And he found me owning my businesses. But yes, I think what we need to do, we have to recognize and celebrate our business leaders, because Americans are so good at it in the rest of the world. But we tend to not do that, and let us look at who are the role models are. Let us look at what it is that we are doing. I've been very active in the design of the mining legislation. You go to any portfolio committee of the economic cluster, they will tell you that's where I am. But beyond that, I'm very active in African Union and the African Pacific Caribbean ACP. Secretary General also always invite me to go and present as the president of the Junior Mining Chamber, but also as a business leader. So the rest of Africa recognizes in the rest of the world, whether it's World Economic Forum, where I'm part of, where the we deliberations, or the Fortune Global Forum of the most powerful 200 women that always ask me to come and contribute towards whatever intellectual capital we have. And what I'm saying is that let us, South Africa, criticize the wrongs, but let us also celebrate the goodness of who we are as a nation, and let us, make sure that we continue with the mentorship of breeding future business talent in our country.
Now let's move on to number 3. Please welcome Irene Charnley. Irene Charnley is a successful business and social entrepreneur and is the president of International Women's Forum South Africa, a global organization of over 7,000 preeminent women of significant and diverse achievement across 36 nations and 6 continents, and chairman of Gibela Rail Transport Consortium. Irene also recently served on the board of the Public Investment Corporation. Irene is the founder and former CEO and former deputy chairman of Smile Telecoms, a Pan-African telecommunications group established in 2007, with broadband operations in Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda, and a presence in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Prior to establishing Smile, Irene was instrumental in transforming MTN Group into one of the most preeminent telecoms operators in the Middle East and Africa region, through a number of license company acquisitions. She also led the management and staff buy-in of 18.7% in MTN, which was an entrepreneurial initiative independent of MTN, and which saw thousands of MTN employees benefit from the structure at the time. As an executive director at Jonick Industrial Corporation and the lead negotiator of a number of successful transactions, Irene led the transformation of the organization from an industrial conglomerate into the focused media and telecoms group. Irene also spearheaded one of the early broad-based black empowerment schemes in SA, called the Ikagang scheme, in which 32,000 ordinary South Africans participated and received 400% return on their initial deposit. Irene's successful business career was preceded as a trade unionist and key negotiator for the National Union of Mine Workers, where she spent 13 years. Irene Charnley, age 62, has achieved a net worth of $82.7 million. Hailing from South Africa, she has played a pivotal role in shaping the telecommunications industry. Irene's visionary leadership has earned her admiration and respect across the country. Interesting fact, Irene Charnley was the first black woman to serve on the board of a major South African telecommunications company, MTN.
I need to start off with a word to all of the women that are here. We heard earlier on that a lot of the women that's in this room are women who are running single households. They're looking after their children. It's young people who are at university. And then they look at people like us and say, no, these people have all grown up with a golden spoon in their mouth. It is not like that. The message I want to pass on to you is that you can achieve anything that you want to be, you can be. You can achieve anything. But that decision to do that lies with you. The reason I'm saying that, because I'm a living example of that. Like you, I come from a family that was run by one woman. That was my leader, and that's my mother. Why? Because her husband passed away, left her with 3 children when he died, left her with a 2-month-old child, a 1-year-old child, and a 3-year-old girl. This woman had to go and work, like many of you, day to day, had to go and work for somebody else, work for somebody else to earn money. They had to work in a factory to earn money, take their children to school. But the one thing they are always determined, that leadership of that woman, are then the ones who then guide their children to say, I don't want you to live like me. I want you to be better. And this is something that every woman in this room, you will always tell the next woman and the next child and the neighbor's child every single day. Because you are determined to succeed. Because women know we can nurture. You nurture. You nurture your own. You nurture the ones around you. Because you know that whatever you do, whoever you are guiding, they will achieve what you guide and lead them to. So when anybody thinks that you have to have this type of, you have to know people, you have to be somebody to get to where we are, my answer to you is simple: no, you don't need that. You need yourself. You need to believe in yourself. You need to work hard, like our parents and their parents and everybody else and the women have done before. And continue with that, and you will get to where you want to be. So my story then is fast tracking. How do I get to, so the 3 key things in my life. Went through whole education system. Politically, I ended up in a trade union because I knew that within the labor, and this is in the mining industry, the time when I entered the mining industry, the workers, many women who left the women and wives at home in the rural areas, in the villages, they came to work in the mines. And we were the people who had to go out there negotiating with their employers to try and change and improve their conditions of employment, their own discrimination, the poverty that they were experiencing, improving those conditions So I spent a large part of my life with that, cutting my teeth, laying the foundation to what I was to become, determined to succeed. And for the first time, mine workers never had anything for themselves. People used to work in mines. They used to contract diseases, illnesses. They used to die, and their families in the villages, the women, ended up with nothing. But through the labor movement and through the union, for the first time we were enabled, and I was instrumental in that, to make sure that mine workers, when they become ill or when they die, there is some pension or provident fund for them, that their families could benefit from that. Moving on from the labor movement into business, because nothing can stop you from where you want to be. And into business, today we all know and we've seen a very large company, the biggest company in the ICT industry. Most of you are using a telephone. Where does it come from? How did it start? Not only are we using the telephone here in South Africa, in 21 countries across Africa and the Middle East, those telephones are being used. Who were the people to ensure that happens? It's not some group of white people who did that. No. It's a group of black men and a black woman who did this, who grew a company like MTN from 3 countries that they were in at the time to 21 countries, delivering to over 250 million people across Africa and the continent. Telephony services. These are the things that we decided we can do. But never, you know, when there are success stories, women or black people don't get the credit. They don't. It has to be somebody from somewhere who's done it, but they don't get the credit. Now, I am telling you today what MTN is today. The growth, the profitability, the access to communication that everybody has today. It has been built and grown by black people and a black woman. So moved on to that.
Who's that black woman, Irene?
That black woman is me. I might have
This
blonde
is the
hair,
black
but it's
woman.
dyed,
She's
eh?
trying to tell you, so I thought I should come in. She is the black woman who was part of the group that grew MTN into the multi-billion rand operation that it is.
So I was saying to you, if we can come from a township and do that. Like many of you, I do come from a time, I always used to say to people, when it used to be summer, it rained because the corrugated iron was sweating. If it rains, the water comes through. So either way, you always have rain right through the year. So MTN, and in addition to that, what we were able to do, and again, the black woman, 3,200 workers, ordinary people, from the cleaner to the manager. We put in a scheme and created wealth for them. We bought shares in the company. Everybody benefited. 3,200 employees benefited and changed their life because we built the company and moved that share price from 8.35 rand to about 100 rand a share when they got paid up. And I must say, one of the people at the time, another black woman who helped us at the time, was Gloria, sitting right here next to me. Another one woman who helped us is Suzanelle. Where is Suzanelle?
She's hiding somewhere.
Oh, Suzanelle as well. So 9 years, so you saw the video of Smile. It was a vision. So now I want to prove that you can start something from nothing. You can take an idea, determination, with the support of the communities, of the people here. Go out there and start something. Raise money. So I went out there with a vision to start a new company called Smile. Raise money from people from the Middle East, because those are the people willing to put in the money. And today, I can say to you, we are not only operational in Tanzania, we are operational in Nigeria. So I hope, Madam, you are using Smile. We're in Nigeria. We are in Nigeria. We are in Uganda. And we will be operational later this year in the DRC. And what that means is that we were able to, we have infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, it's data centers, it is towers that's in existence in all of those countries. People buy data and access to the internet from us. The experience that they have in those countries is a better experience that they get from South Africa, because we don't have it here. Then it was the technology that came, the best technology. It was introduced in those countries before the UK and before some of the countries in Europe. And so today people can experience access to the internet, what we call broadband. 4G means currently you have 2G, then there's 3G, this is 4G. It means that when you get into the internet, you download movies, you download content, you can download healthcare, education, entertainment at the speed of light without it buffering, good quality. That's what we are giving. And that's what our business is about. And we are growing. The business today is worth multi-billion rand. I will say rand because soon it will be multi-billion dollars. But now I know equity value, it is, we have a company in 9 years that we've built that's 10 billion rand at the moment. So all I want to end off with to say, I know I'm not answering your question.
You have.
But we'll come back to the woman that we are following. The opportunities that we have been given would not have been possible without the woman before us. The woman and men who've made sacrifices, but the woman who was determined. And what drove them? They were determined, they said, they were decisive in making a decision. And then they were decisive in taking action. We must stop talking. Be decisive in your decision. Be decisive in the action. And then believe that you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you, you can do it. If you think you can do it, rather go and sleep. Because you can do it. If you decide you can. You are strong. Stronger than anybody out there. You can do it. We could do it. You can do it. You can do it. Anybody can do it. So just my word is go out there and just be decisive in your decision making and in your action, like the woman before us. And go and just do what you set your mind to do. Thank you.
My secret ingredients is confidence, persistence, and an amazing support system. I've got an amazing family behind me who support me, encourage me. I've got a husband who is broad-minded and happy to put up with all my craziness, I suppose. Yeah, it's having the confidence to go forth and do what you feel is the right thing to do.
Now we're approaching the pinnacle of our countdown. At number 2, we have an exceptional businesswoman who has left an indelible mark on the retail industry. Please welcome Wendy Ackerman. Wendy Ackerman is a non-executive director of Pick and Pay Holdings Limited. She is recognized by SA Nature Foundation for outstanding achievement and contribution to environmental conservation. She is also acknowledged by WWF South Africa as a Diamond Custodian of Table Mountain. Wendy was born in Cape Town and studied at the University of Cape Town, Wits University, and University of South Africa. From 1963 to 1967, she taught at the English Academy in Soweto and was involved in teaching English to the black community at night school during her student years. She joined her husband Raymond in Pick and Pay when he acquired the company. Whilst raising a family, Wendy has been totally involved in the Pick and Pay Group's development of employee benefits and their welfare. She was appointed a director in 1981 and is responsible for employee liaison, staff benefits, and welfare. Wendy has always been deeply involved in promoting education amongst the needy and underprivileged of South Africa. She is a trustee of the Ackerman Family Educational Trust Fund, which assists students from all over the country with bursaries for tertiary education. She is also a trustee of the Pick and Pay Bursary Fund, which assists children of employees. In addition, she instigated AIDS awareness programs throughout the group. Wendy has always had a great love for the cultural arts and has personally assisted several needy individuals to further their musical and singing careers. She is well known for her work amongst the underprivileged and is very involved in developing company-assisted housing schemes for staff in the black and colored areas around the country, one of the first being Wendyville in Soweto. Wendy has numerous involvements outside of her role at Pick and Pay. These include Life Governor for the UCT Foundation, board member of the AIDS Foundation, and patron of the Union of Jewish Women. Wendy Ackerman, at the age of 88, has amassed a net worth of $105 million. Born and raised in South Africa, she co-founded and played a pivotal role in the success of one of the country's largest retail chains.
Leaders must bring people along with them. You're absolutely right. But the interpretation, there are different interpretations of what is lonely at the top. The lonely part, as I see it, is the very difficult decisions that you have to make as leader. And with all your experience building up to your leadership and what you have learnt along the way, it puts you in a better position to be able to make that lonely decision. Because sometimes those decisions we make are very hard, and one has to sometimes part with people, dismiss people that you don't want to dismiss, and so on. Or see that this is the wrong person in the wrong job, and unfortunately they have to move. So that is, I think, my interpretation of what the top is lonely. And the other, if you don't mind me, any of you please stop me if you disagree with what I'm saying. I can't stop that. The leader has to care for his people, and by caring for his people, he gains their respect. It isn't always easy to befriend the leader, or the leader to befriend the people who are working with him. But the leader must always care for the people and be part of them. And the important thing I think of about leadership is that you must always keep your promise. If you promise to do something, you do it. In this way, you build your integrity, which is absolutely so important, so that you gain people's respect. But it's also very difficult to make friends with the people who are around you. And we, unfortunately, have learned a very hard way that we care for our people, we go among them, we have humility and so on, but friends among the people, not really. We don't, am I right? Am I right? We have very strong contact with people. We around them, with them, we have a canteen, we eat in the canteen, we sit at different tables and chat to the different people. But when it comes to the weekend, we at home with our family. We don't bring them in with us Because maybe they've done something and Monday morning you've got to call them in and fire them. And then there's a bit of resentment. So those are just my comments.
Finally, we have reached the summit of our list. Securing the #1 spot is Wendy Applebaum, a formidable force in the business world. Wendy Applebaum is a South African entrepreneur who was born in South Africa as Wendy Donna Applebaum. She is the owner and chair of De Morgan's Inn Wine Estate. She is known as the richest woman in South Africa. Applebaum is a trustee of the Tribune Trust, an investment holding trust, and a director of Victory Strategic Services Limited. She chairs De Morgan's Inn Estate, a wine farm and agricultural business in Stellenbosch, South Africa. Is a director of Sphere Holdings Limited, a black empowerment company focused on the financial services and mining sectors. She was previously the deputy chairman of Women's Investment Portfolio Limited, Wiphold Limited, the first women-controlled company to list on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange with then assets in excess of $55 million. Wendy studied psychology at the Wits University and graduated with a degree. Applebaum says that she learned some amazing skills such as attention to detail, determination, work ethics, and patience from her father. Applebaum is the daughter of Donald Gordon and Peggy Gordon. Sir Donald Gordon, born the 24th of June 1930 and died the 21st of November 2019, was a South African, British businessman and philanthropist. He founded Liberty Life Association of Africa in 1957 and Liberty International. The University of Pretoria's Gordon Institute of Business Science, GIBS, is named in his honor, as it was Gordon's contribution of $1.65 million towards the new campus that made the opening of the business school possible in 2000. Growing up as the only daughter with two brothers, Richard and Graham, she loved games and could play almost anything, including Scrabble, tennis, bridge, show jumping, golf, you name it. At an interview with Forbes Africa, she says that games are a great teacher for mastering negotiation. Wendy grew up to be a highly competitive woman as a result of the sports and games she played, and she believes that is why she is a great director. Wendy Applebaum, at 61 years old, has an astonishing net worth of $143 million. Born and raised in South Africa, she has made a name for herself as a successful businesswoman and philanthropist. Wendy's accomplishments and dedication to giving back make her a true inspiration. Wendy Applebaum is also known for her advocacy for women's rights and gender equality.
My father turned 75. He said he's only frightened of one thing in his whole life, and that was me. So in fact, I think it's part of my character in that I do stand up to power anyway. I'm not frightened of anything or anybody. I mean, what was he going to do? We know for sure he wasn't going to kill me.
Oh, really?
And when he got over it, even if he was angry, he would get over it.
Right.
And actually, it would be far more important that I had made him sit up and think about something that was realistic. That's what he was. He never had women on his boards. He never really had any women in high management. He didn't particularly have any of his advisors were women. They were all men. He was a sexist. And one day he stood up and he was talking to a room of lawyers. And he said he's never ever seen an outstanding female lawyer. Which point a woman jumped up out of the audience and absolutely took him to pieces, which was fantastic. He landed up paying for many, many years and many, many legal brains later, putting them through university, because this woman said, if that is the case, you are obliged to make a difference. And so he was giving many scholarships for lawyers for many years to come. So I wasn't the only one to stand up to him. But most men are sexist in business. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. Why do women trail the way they do in the business world? Because they're not given the opportunities that men are given.
Was that the first time you stood up to your father? And I know you described, when you had that mentoring type of relationship, he was usually telling you, but not really looking for your feedback. So how did that change the dynamics of your relationship once you made that bold statement to him?
I think I often look back on my life and feel quite sorry for my mother. I was born very strong. It was probably the first time that it was sort of picked up publicly that I had spoken out to him. But I spoke up from a very young age,
right,
about absolutely everything. I've always been outraged by things that are wrong and unfair, unjust. It's just my nature. it was probably one of the first times that it was conscientized for him, in that he started to think about the fact that what he was doing was possibly not correct.
At that point in your life, would you call yourself a feminist?
I think I've always been a feminist. I really, you know, some people say that it's such an unattractive thing to be or whatever the case may be. How can you not be a feminist when there's no equality for men and women? I really don't understand that. So, you know, I believe in fighting for the rights of every underdog. And if women are the underdog, c'est la vie. They will get my support at every turn. At the end of the day, I think it makes no difference what business you are in. As long as if you're in a business that doesn't make a profit, then you're running a charity. So at the end of the day, I think business is about making money. I've always wanted to farm. I've always wanted to live in the country. I was never going to become a cattle farmer. I would never have been able to eat my animals. So I think it was more important to farm and do something that you are interested in. I love wine. I think it's fabulous. It's a wonderful, delicious product that really adds infinitely to one's life. So wine was what we had, and with the hugest of respect to the Cape winelands, I think they are probably the most beautiful winelands in the world. It's a privilege to live here. God created this. I just rent it, really. But it's a very creative space. Running a business, as I say, is running a business whether you're making and selling wine or whether you are in the financial institutions or in mining or anything else. And, you know, I think that you can take those lessons of business that you've learned and just apply them to any business that you're in. And so this is just another one of my businesses, and it's one of those passionate businesses where you wake up every morning. Every day is a challenge. It's more of a challenge than some other businesses in that you're not as in control of the environment or as you are in another business. This way you rely on nature to a lesser or greater degree. Sometimes you have too much rain, sometimes you don't have enough. So it is that it's the excitement of almost living on the edge in tandem with nature that creates different vintages year after year. My father started his foundation in 1972 when it really wasn't a fashionable thing to do. There were no tax advantages, there was nothing. So we grew up in a home where you did give. And to be perfectly honest, how many beds can you sleep in? How many cars can you drive? I think it's so much more important to make a difference in the world that you live in. What is the point of dying one of the richest people in the world? It doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't mean anything. Rather to die with a legacy of the fact that you have done stuff. And I do believe in the end that you make a living by what you get. And you make a life by what you give, which is what Winston Churchill said. And I think that is in itself is a very strong motive for what I do.
Whenever I've looked at your journey, I feel that it's laced with success upon success upon success. Is there anything that you failed at? I mean, you're celebrating your 35 years anniversary even. So in terms of your personal life, I feel that you almost have it all. Have you ever failed at anything?
You know, I think I'm such a positive person, and I'm sure I failed at things. But because I'm the type of person who looks at the half full glass, I would never see it as a failure, but more as a lesson, perhaps. I mean, nobody goes through their life with only counting successes, other than psychopaths, because then they're just not really looking at the negatives. Because everybody has negatives in their life. And it's not a question of whether or not you have them, it's what you do with them. Whether you take them as challenges or whether you take them as lessons to be learned, we all make mistakes. Every single one of us. So I think, you know, if I can encourage anybody to do anything, is to take the best out of absolutely every situation in life.
That's brilliant. What would you say, Wendy, is your purpose in life?
I think my purpose is to put back into the environment in which I live. I get an enormous amount of pleasure about what I do, And even if it's just making a difference in one child's life, or many children's lives in terms of education and the other things that I get involved in, I get far more pleasure than you care to imagine than they do. It really gives me a thrill.
And what do you believe your legacy will be? I think there's so many different ones that you could choose. What would you say in your heart would be the legacy you want to leave and that you've already
I would want to leave, as has been said before, a ding in the universe, that I did make a difference. And you know, last year I took on a very, very public case for the poor. And in terms of bang for buck, although the law firm that took on the case pro bono, there were still a lot of things that we did. We had to do all sorts of investigations, forensics, some of the advocates needed to be paid or whatever the case may be. So that was, for instance, a case that cost me a fair amount of money, but the difference that I made in 10 million people's lives by managing to change the laws that surrounded microfinance and debt collection in this country will literally go down in history. It made such a massive difference with relatively small investment. So it's that impact that one wants to do. And you've got to think big, you've got to work hard. This is not just about money, this is about putting time and energy and effort and passion into something that's got to drive. That somebody's got to drive these things, because it becomes really, really quite stressful and quite debilitating at times. And I'm about to take on another huge public interest case for the benefit of mostly people who cannot defend themselves. So for the poor, for people who have no access to the law, and there are a number. Access to the law is hugely expensive. And so it's really fighting on behalf of a lot of people. So I think if I can just leave a difference in having made a difference in many people's lives, that will be what I would like to leave as my legacy.
I mean, when you look at what it means to be a woman in this day and age, what does it mean to you? Obviously, it's advanced so much over the years. I mean, we have a lot more opportunities and there are some women doing amazing things, but what does it mean, the essence of a woman to you in this day and age?
Well, you know, I've often wondered about the sort of comments like, how do you balance your work life and your family life? Have you ever heard anybody ask a man that question?
No.
It just doesn't come. So I really do believe that women are so much more successful. We have so many different jobs to fulfill in our lives, that if they talk about juggling, they talk about multitasking, or whatever the case may be, I think that we do have that many. You know, what is the real responsibility, other than a financial responsibility, of a husband as opposed to a wife who is nurturing and caring and puts food on the table and does all those kinds of things? I just think we show men up to the degree that it's little wonder that they don't look at us in awe. I think it's probably got something to do with envy.
Nobuhle Judy Dlamini, I hereby install you in the honors and the dignities of Chancellorship of this university, and on its behalf entrust you to the defense of its rights and privileges. Congratulations.
I don't know if you also noticed that all these dollar multimillionaires are highly educated in different fields. Education is the key driver to success. These individuals have made significant contributions to the economy and communities. Their stories serve as a testament to the limitless potential and determination of women in South Africa and beyond. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Who knows, maybe someday we'll be featuring you on our list of the wealthiest individuals.